Mike Avery, and we're live tonight on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Twitter. And glad to have you along with us on what is a very rainy, dreary night here in my neck of the woods. Hello, Brad. Nice to have you along with us. John, always a pleasure. How are things at the CMU Bass Fishing Club? Nice walleye you got there in your hands. Cliff, good evening. It was nice to talk with you this morning. I see you're back with me this evening, and I do appreciate it. Randy, how are you? Nice to have you with us as well on this. Hey, who is that? Eric. Mike Critchfield. Mike, always a pleasure, buddy. How are you? Johnny Bowler, my friend, how was your day plowing snow in the UP? Bill says he loves the show for sure. I appreciate that. Kevin, nice to have you along with us as well. Hey, John, you and I just exchanged a text, didn't we? John Cedar of Brenton USA, BrentonUSA.com. Chris checking in from Kansas. How are you? How are things in Kansas? Hey, Joe, I saw you asking me today, Mike, what day is it? I saw you asking me, but I was recording the radio show. Oh, Jim says, here we go. Amy's not going to like this. Hello, Mike. How's everything? What day? Mike, what day is it? It's hump day. Okay, we got that out of the way. Good evening, Craig. How are you? Nice to have you along with us as well. David, Dennis is with us as well. Lots of rain today, and you didn't float away. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Anyway, my friends, we've got a busy night coming up tonight. It's a nice night for you to tune in, because coming up here in just a couple of minutes, Amy Trotter, Executive Director of MUCC, is going to join us to answer some of your questions. So have them standing by. Just let us know what, you'll post them here on the page. Amy will be able to see them. I'll be able to see them. Nick Green of MUCC is standing by, so we'll make sure that we get the questions to you. Turkey season, birds gobbling in Tuscola County. I can't wait. Also tonight, we're going to give away a Michigan brand ham as part of our ham for the holidays, ham for Easter. Brian, good evening. How are you? Hey, Lori and Brian. Nice to have you both with us. Heidi, nice to have you with us as well. Rainy Bay City. Where'd you go, Tony? There's Tony right there. No crow hunting today, Tony. Weather too rotten. I don't blame you. All right, my friends. I don't want to waste any time getting into this. You know me. My name is Mike Avery, outdoor broadcaster here in Michigan for many, many years. Used to be on TV and radio. Now just on radio and social media. I have worked with the folks at MUCC for several years now. I'm a member of MUCC. I think they do a great job. Do I necessarily agree with everything they do? Of course not. That would be crazy. I'd be a sycophant if I just agreed with everything they do. But I will tell you, I believe strongly in them. I am a member. I think they're doing a great job. And in my opinion, they are an organization that if you don't like what they're doing, all you have to do is get involved, become a member, and you can change things. Now, I want to bring Amy Trotter in. There she is. Amy, how are you this evening?
Hi, good evening.
Always nice to have you along with us. How are things in Lansing tonight?
Very good. Dry for the moment.
I'm glad to hear that. Amy, tell me a little bit of your background now. You've been there at MUCC for a little while now.
Yeah. So good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Trotter. I'm Executive Director here at MUCC. I've been on staff for almost 15 years now. I've been Executive Director for more than 3 years. And I've always been in the policy and the advocacy space here with our organization, working with our members to, implement their dreams, their positions that they bring through the organization. I went to school at MSU. I have a degree in environmental science. I've worked in the private sector for a little bit before coming on board to MUCC. So glad to be here.
Well, and you've got a lot of people saying hi to you this evening, Amy. Can you see those comments? Like if I bring it up, can you see that?
I can, yeah. I see my mother-in-law's on. I've got a couple of board members.
I saw the Trotter name in there. I wondered who that was.
Yes.
Okay, from Patrick Hogan. Let's get right into this. Can you explain how NRC uses DNR recommendations to set our hunting regulations? Who can and does attend these meetings? It's from Patrick Hogan.
Well, this is a great question and something that is not very commonly understood by the hunting and fishing public. But basically the way things happen is that there is usually a lot of background work. There's a lot of stakeholder engagement in the fish and wildlife world. There's a lot of advisory councils and work groups and things like that. But ultimately, the DNR brings forward a recommendation for a change in a hunting or trapping or a fishing regulation. And then the NRC is there. It is bipartisan, and they debate that. They discuss it. They might make amendments to it. And it is an open public process, so anyone can attend. MUCC is there every single month. We live stream the meetings, direct from the meetings, just as a service to the hunting and fishing community out there. And, there's always an opportunity for public input. And so that's another critical piece, is that you do have to attend in person to give that input. But ultimately, it is the Natural Resources Commission that votes on these kinds of changes, discusses them, maybe makes amendments, maybe it goes back to a DNR biologist to review. But ultimately, you do have a voice in this process. It's also important to know who else is in the room. And I will say, especially over the last 18 months, but even 5 or 6 years, there has been a growing population of people who don't hunt and fish, who want to hear their voice and they want an equal seat at the table, even though, as we all know, they don't pay for fish and wildlife conservation here.
We're talking the anti-hunting groups here, right?
Correct.
Blatant anti-hunting groups.
Yes, absolutely. The Humane Society of the United States. There is Attorneys for Animals. There are other just individuals who share their perspectives, not wanting us to hunt, trap, or fish.
Should they have a voice at the NRC?
I absolutely believe this is an open public process. Yes, they have a voice. Now, whether or not we need to listen to them, they sometimes do make well-reasoned, well-researched, arguments. But ultimately,
I'm sorry, I can't hear that with a straight face. I have to laugh, Amy, when I hear you say that.
Well, yeah, they have some. I will say they have some scientists on their side. I can't say it's a preponderance of scientists, but they do have some activist scientists that they cite time and time again who validate the things that they say.
And just for the reason of keeping things moving along, so we hit as many questions as possible tonight. A question from one of Michigan's most interesting men. In fact, he's the most interesting man in Michigan, Bill Hoffman. And I don't know if you can answer this question or not. Why split turkey seasons to private or public? A general deer tag is good for both. Any thoughts on that?
That is a good question, and I think this is all born out of turkeys were a scarce resource not very long ago. In my lifetime, they were a scarce resource, and there were a lot of hunters on public land all trying to go after the same turkey. And so the conditions today are different than when turkey hunting really got going, I would say in the 80s, 90s, and throughout time. So I think that's a conversation that we need to have. But that's really how it was born, out of that scarcity, and we're still sort of living under that same regulation.
Real good question from Josh Revart. Any updates on the commercial fishing bills, and why don't we hear much about it lately?
Well, unfortunately, we took a run at that last legislative session, which ended actually in 2020. We had a package of bills. They passed the House, and we hit a brick wall in the Michigan Senate. Unfortunately, the commercial fishermen really believe they need to have game fish in order to be successful in our state. In order to thrive and grow their industry, they think they need walleye, perch, and lake trout. And MUCC and all of our partners in the sport fishing community stood against that. And we said, absolutely not. If game fish are on the table, we don't need to have these regulation updates, because we weren't going to compromise that single big value in order to get the needed updates that are out there for the industry. So unfortunately, we don't even have bills this session, because we hit that brick wall. There's going to be changes. Elections have consequences, and we can take a run at it, I think, next legislative session.
Gotcha. Linda Barthel says, how many on the NRC are trained or educated in wildlife management? Is there a prerequisite for being on that board?
There is supposed to be some level of knowledge about hunting, fishing, trapping, conservation, outdoors, things within sort of the DNR's realm. But there is no requirement for any specific training or education, a degree in any kind of wildlife or fisheries management. Now, we do, for the first time, have an aquatic biologist on the council. We have a forester on the commission. We also have 2 retired legislators and a lawyer, 2 lawyers actually. And so, no, there is no specific requirements though for natural resources commissioners, except for there may be no more than 4 of any one party. So it is required to be bipartisan.
Amy, Kevin Rod of Overdrive Outdoors. MUCC have a position on a nighttime hunting of bobcats at all?
Wow. Okay. Maybe that's my first one that I'm stumped on. We haven't talked about it. So, and for our membership to bring something up, it goes through a long process, and ultimately that's what comes out as our position. And I don't think this is an issue that we've actually had a conversation about.
Gotcha. 2 questions on baiting. MUCC have a position on baiting?
MUCC is officially opposed to baiting for deer because of the concern of disease transmission. So we still support baiting as a method when it comes to bears because there is no disease concerns with the bear population. But that is something I've taken a lot of arrows in my days over the last 15 years. And no, I don't expect baiting to come back for this deer season.
I don't expect it to come back in the foreseeable future based on what the experts are telling me. And I suspect they're telling you the same thing, Amy, basically.
That's correct. I think there is a lot of people trying to take a bite of those apples, but we are there's a lot of talk in the legislature to try to overrule the Natural Resources Commission and the DNR on this. And lame duck, is here and anything can happen. But yeah, I don't think the Natural Resources Commission will make that move.
And let's make it clear here. People I think are posing questions to you guys at MUCC, like you make policy, like you make rules. You don't, right?
We are an advocate just like any individual can be, any other organization. Yes. No, I have no power in making the rules, or I would have, been out of a job a long time ago because my work would have been done.
And following up on that, should NRC commissioners be allowed to bring forth concepts and proposals, or should that come from somebody outside of that group? I'm thinking of Saginaw River walleye right now is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, so that has been a question. We do believe that, the NRC is autonomous. They can bring forward issues that are brought forward by the public, by an advisory group, by an individual at any time. It does need to have solid information behind it. And so whether that's DNR information or some sort of recognized, peer-reviewed literature, data-driven decision, those are the things that we want to make sure that they're making those decisions based on good information, not just internet, rumors and those kinds of things.
Here's a real interesting question from Leah. She said, it is currently illegal to lean a rifle or a shotgun against a vehicle, and a lot of hunters have found that out the hard way. A hunter that places his ducks on the tailgate along with his dog and his shotgun is breaking the law. Will you, Mike, support MUCC in trying to eliminate the on or upon language that currently makes Michigan hunters and shooters felons? I will say in response to this, I support any change in legislation that makes it clearer and less cumbersome on hunters and anglers. Amy, what do you think?
Absolutely. We have the same policy. This is an issue that, it just needs a clarification in the legislation. Unfortunately, getting it through the legislature, making it a priority there might be easy right now. Making it a priority when there's a lot of other issues going on, and especially funding in the legislature, it's hard to kind of break through the noise right now. But that is definitely on our list of things to take on.
And I just need to clarify. I used a word that doesn't exist. I said encumbersome. I meant cumbersome. It's live, though. That's the way things go. Okay. How do we start? Which discussion, Kevin? How do we start the discussion? But Amy, I'll throw that to you. How does anybody here in the state, a hunter or angler who wants to see something changed, if they want to go through MUCC and work with you guys, how do they start that discussion?
Absolutely. They can call anytime, email. It really starts with a conversation. It might be with one of my board members, policy board members, or one of our staff. The conversation can start anywhere, but ultimately it has to form into the form of a resolution. So they have to have some supporting arguments as to why, and then ultimately what they want to change. So that's kind of the where, be it further resolved in the resolution. So, that's if the conversation can start anywhere. Once it's in a resolution, it comes to our conservation policy board for a first vetting. And then if it passes that meeting, then it goes on to our annual convention where our members engage in a great policy debate every year. That meeting is coming up in June of 2022.
Real good question from Tim. How would you respond to those who think the MUCC is just an extension of or in lockstep with the DNR? And I hear this because Dan Eichinger, who is now director of DNR, was your boss and former executive director of MUCC. So I can get why people would think that, Amy.
Yeah, and even before then, that was the assumption out there that we are, doing the marching orders, doing the bidding, being a lapdog. But I want to say right now that we are a watchdog. We do partner with the Department of Natural Resources on a lot of things. Habitat is good for wildlife. It's good for hunters. We should be working together on those things. We should be cracking down on poaching, so we share a lot of the same goals and values in terms of the outcomes we're looking at. But I am not afraid to go head to head with the department, and we will be finding lots of reasons to disagree and agree with them on. But I think it's actually great that I do have a person I know pretty well at the head of the department. We have great conversations. We can agree to disagree on certain things, but certainly there is at least a communication there, something that we haven't always had with every DNR director.
Jim Morris says, any talk, let me give me this back up, of eliminating rod limits for Great Lakes anglers, not from MUCC, but me, Mike Avery, have not given up on this. There are some other groups working on this behind the scenes, and I do intend on testifying before the NRC. So this is not a dead issue here, but it's not an MUCC issue at this point. My buddy Ed Bolanowski, Amy, short of membership dues, how do you guys raise funds? I mean, you do very well on a shoestring budget, but it does cost money. And what you charge for dues, I know isn't covering your expenses. So do you have lobbyists? Are there people behind the scenes paying you guys and telling you what to do?
Our membership does pay about 20%, 25% of our organization. The rest of it actually comes from individual donors, grant money. I mean, we're just like any other nonprofit. We have quite a diverse set of revenue. We have advertising in our magazine. We have corporate partners that have partnered with us, like Jay's Sporting Goods, for example. And then we also have all of those individual donors. We've had some amazing opportunities with some bequests. People have left us money in their will to keep our mission going now into the future. So we get money through a variety of ways.
So if Ed Bolanowski wrote you a check for $50,000, you'd take it.
I would absolutely
there
take
you go.
it. But he would still have to engage in the policy process. That's one thing that I really pride ourselves on is, our positions cannot be bought. We do separate out, that fundraising arm and that nonprofit arm from our policy grassroots process. So you still got to go through the gauntlet on that.
Well, and the problem is Ed Bolanowski would want to put some strings on it, and he would want to require you, Amy Trotter, to use night crawlers to fish walleye with, and I refuse to do it. So I'm not taking any money. All right. Linda says, and this is an interesting question. Hey, Amy, what is your primary outdoor passion? You talked a little bit about yourself professionally, but what do you like to do in the outdoors?
Well, I have a husband and 2 daughters, and we enjoy spending time doing anything really outdoors together. But the first thing I got to do in hunting and fishing and really kind of have really enjoyed is duck hunting. So I like that I can keep talking most of the time. I can have conversations. It's active. There's things that you can do, the calling and everything, the decoys. And it's something I can't say that I'm super successful with, but I really enjoy being in the marsh in the fall. And we are getting, our oldest daughter is 9. She took her first duck this fall. She took her first deer this fall. And honestly, now as a parent, those are some of the most exciting times in the woods is not your own success, but watching your kids do it as well.
Dan Featherstone says, was MUCC support allowing open carry while bow hunting in the UP? And I guess I'm confused. And I know you're not a CO, Amy, but I guess I thought this was already legal.
Yeah, I know concealed carry with a CPL is allowed. I'm not certain on the open carry aspect, but yeah, we would probably support that. There's no reason not to allow. Law-abiding citizens should be able to carry, especially for personal protection.
Tim Binns, does MUCC have any ideas, suggestion to the NRC for reducing walleye pressure on perch in Saginaw Bay in place of opening the Saginaw River? I guess Tim doesn't like the proposal of opening up the Saginaw River, but he understands the concept. MUCC have a position? Any thoughts on that, Amy?
Well, not at this time. I would say that the answer is not commercial fishing for walleye, because that's what the commercial fishing industry would say. And so we don't want to, we wanted to try all the things that we could in other ways before we ever got to the commercialization of walleye. So, you know, that was one reason why I think some of that proposal was put forward.
Lori Card Stroic says, well, you sure enjoyed catfish noodling. You're braver than I am, Amy, because I would never do that.
It was an experience, that is for sure. It is probably one of those things that, well, you can't actually do it in Michigan. It's not legal. But we had to go down to Southern Illinois, and turns out it's hard to hold your breath, stay down at the bottom, and grab a fish by the mouth and pull it out. So we all each got one, and it was a riot, and it was all a group of women.
My buddy Ace says, great interview. Amy is very well spoken and knowledgeable. He's learned a lot tonight from you, Amy.
Well, thank you, Dennis.
Cliff, MUCC, and this might lead into the camp. I think this is a good question. Any kind of scholarship programs for young adults going into outdoor fields? And I'll take that one step further. What is it? 3 hours retention? What's the 3 hour program, Amy?
Recruitment, retention, and reactivation. So, no, we don't give scholarships for college, kids going into college, but what we do have a lot of scholarship opportunity is to come to youth camp. We run and operate a summer youth camp in Chelsea, Michigan. It is a overnight, week-long experience. The kids that come there get their hunter safety certificate if they pass. They get to fish, they get to shoot archery, 22s, and get the full experience of the outdoors. And we have a lot of opportunity for scholarships for any kids in need for that, especially those kids that don't have an outdoor mentor in their life. We have an entire camp designed to get those kids out to see the stars for the first time. Not only that, but also fish and learn to shoot.
Tony says he loves your comment about no commercial fishing of walleye. Tony, I'll tell you, MUCC has been against that right from the start. Ed has a good question. As a disabled hunter and fisherman, I am greatly disappointed by the lack of MUCC support for disabled access points.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. We have really worked on projects that we have the ability to and the capacity to. We actually just have a on-the-ground program working on shooting lanes for the people, the blinds that are specifically there on state game areas for people with disabilities. But certainly opening up to partnerships, and let us know how we can be of assistance on that.
All right. I'm surprised it took so long to bring this question up about wolves. You're executive director of MUCC. You were on the Wolf Advisory Committee. You thought you were making some progress, then things went south. So I'll take this down so people can see your face, but your thoughts on wolf management in Michigan. You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming.
So, single most frustrating issue of my entire career. I will say that, without a doubt, it is the most frustrating thing. And I've been on this merry-go-round for a long time. You know, they have been on again, off again, on again, off again. We have tried to delist them congressionally 4 times in just the 15 years I've been here at MUCC. There's bills in both the House and the Senate in Congress to do that again. But, you know, as a state organization, as a state legislature, as the DNR in Michigan, we don't have the power. It is a federal issue to get them back off the endangered species list. So our only action is through Congress. I actually think rather than delisting them in Congress, which is what the Northern Rockies did, that was how they've been able to continue their wolf hunt, we actually just need to fix what's broken in the Endangered Species Act itself. We can't continue this merry-go-round.
Amen to that. My buddy Ross says, Mike, has anybody brought up the deer baiting issue? Yes. Ross, they have, but Amy, let me follow up on this. You said it's MUCC's position that you oppose baiting. If your membership gave you a mandate that they wanted you to be in support of baiting, would that change the organization's position?
Absolutely. It was our members that created our position in 2007. They've had every year since to look at that, reverse it. It does require a 2/3 majority to change a policy for MUCC. 2/3 majority support of our members at our annual convention in order to change that. But absolutely, if the support is there, that is how to reverse our position. And we have done so on other issues.
And I'm going to get out of your hair here, Amy, but I want to give you a chance just to kind of wrap things up. I know MUCC, you call it what do you call it? Ground. What's the term you use? Like member based grassroots. Thank you. And you mean that. I mean, as an example, I had an idea for the rod restrictions. I brought it to the convention. I didn't do a very good job of presenting it because I'd never done it before, but I had the opportunity. And you have had members in the past come to you guys with an idea, and it became legislation. It became a law. I mean, I think there's no better example of people having the opportunity to get things done with an organization behind it than MUCC.
Absolutely. You have to be in the boat, though. You have to be a member in order to play in the game and to see those kinds of ideas, get vetted, get, talked about by your fellow hunters and anglers. And ultimately, we've had an electrician from Dorr, Michigan get into a bill signing with the governor, and he's got it hanging up in his shop because he had the idea. He worked it through. It actually failed the first time, and he had to come through again. And and that's actually, that was the mentored youth hunt. That's what allowed my daughter to take her first buck this fall, because she's only 9 and she wouldn't have had that opportunity but for Rob Miller in Dorr, Michigan. So absolutely, that is the power of the grassroots.
Amy, this has been fun. You actually brought up the concept of, was I open to this? I said, absolutely. And we're going to take this one step further. Once a quarter now, for the rest of the year, you're going to join me for similar type events. And I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have.
Absolutely. Great questions. And, I really appreciate the opportunity, because so many people don't see what we do, because it is so much behind the scenes. We can only write so many blogs, so many magazine articles and everything. Well, we're actually doing the work too. So I really appreciate sort of this, this fast and furious Q&A. So it was great.
Lori leads me into my final thought. She says, how do you become an MUCC member? I was going to suggest you should go to the website, mucc.org, mucc.org. Amy, the price is ridiculously small.
$35 a year. Yes. And I think there's a discount code, right, Mike?
There is. If you are a first-time member, if you've never signed up and you want to become a member of MUCC, use the promo code Mike, all caps, MIKE, and you save 25%. It makes it even better, even better. All right, Amy, listen, I really enjoyed this. I appreciate your time. I think you're doing a great job. I'm proud to be an MUCC member, and I look forward to doing this again.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night. Have a good night. All right. So let me ask you, my friends, what did you think of this format? I've known Amy for a long time. I knew she would do a wonderful job. She's very well spoken. She's a great advocate. So when they asked me about the opportunity, the concept of doing something like this, I said, yeah, I like it. But tell me, what do you think? I want to put content out that people enjoy. Raber Bay said they liked it. John says he's proud to be a member. Linda said she liked it. Mike said it was very good. Very informative. Jim Felgenauer loved it. Okay, great. Joe said it was very good as well. Okay, excellent. Okay. So it looks like this is something. Brian says, probably one of the best Wednesday Night Lives I've ever seen. Let's not get carried away here, Brian. Oh, yeah, these comments are nice. More Q&A events like this would be good. I agree. All right, awesome. Okay, wonderful. Loved it. Beautiful. Mary said, great. Mary, who we now know as Amy's mother-in-law, great question and answer session. Oh, good. All right, that's good. All right, thank you, my friends. Okay, we're not done yet, right? What do we do on Wednesday nights during the holidays? And Lent is part of a holiday as we're leading up to Easter. Nick Grillo, buddy, are you on here? I told him about 7:30. Hey, Captain, how are you? Captain Mark Podonzek, who's down on Lake Erie fishing now for a couple of weeks. Somebody, oh, this is a good comment. Just nice getting info from the horse's mouth. And no disrespect to Amy, but go right to the source, right? Oh, Nick Grillo, better than 60 minutes. Tommy's ready for a ham. Hold on, Tommy. We're waiting for Nick. There's Nick right there. All right. First of all, before we do this, my buddy Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand Meats. I would encourage you to go to YouTube, or it's on here on the Facebook page as well. Nick posted a video of his snow goose hunt from Arkansas, and it's really cool. There's more shooting going on in this video than you're going to see probably in an entire season of goose hunting up here. Also, congratulations to Michigan Brand Meats and the entire family for, I'll get to this in just a second, for now being available in family fare stores as well. That's a big deal. Davina says, what is this about with the ham? Davina, I work closely with the Grillo family of Michigan Brand Meats. And what they are doing is every week from leading up to Thanksgiving right on through New Year's, and then from Ash Wednesday right on through Easter, every Wednesday night, we give away a Michigan brand ham. No fake news here. Try not to. Big thanks to Nick Grillo and his team. They delivered the ham, and it was awesome. It was very generous of them. Personally drop it off. How cool is that? Okay, so now, with that, here is a disclaimer. If you have won anything here on Wednesday Night Live in the last year, I'm going to ask you not to get involved now, because we want as many people as possible to have a chance to win something. So with that in mind, you got 2 minutes right now. Make your comments on why you would want to win a Michigan brand ham. Why would you want to win a Michigan brand ham? Make your comments now. Please don't say something about, I would give it to a poor family, or I don't mean to say that, to a needy family. That is obviously an honorable thing to do. However, when you make a comment like that, it makes it very, very hard for Nick to make his choices. So funny, clever, heartbreaking even, but you know what I'm trying to say here. Why do you want to win a Michigan brand ham? Corey says she would be so happy if she were selected for this week's Michigan brand ham. Dan says, I want to win a ham. Michael, love have Michigan brand meats for my ham for my girls when they come home for Easter, because I've never had their ham. Dan, Dan, you need to go to the website, michiganbrand.net, michiganbrand.net. Look up the store locator, and you can find a place up near you where you can get them. My wife doesn't like ham, and Scott never gets any. He's tired of perch and venison. Well, I got to tell you, Scott, it's hard to be too sorry for you. 1 minute on the Michigan brand ham. Don says he would comment to win a bag of Avery Hunter sticks. Not a fan of turkey, but love ham. 1 minute. Make your comments on why you want to win a Michigan brand ham. 1 minute. Michiganbrand.net, michiganbrand.net. In fact, I'll show you the screen. I'll do a share screen right. I'm not going to do it right now because I can allow it real quick. Allow. Nope. I did a system update, and now I got to go through all the privacy stuff. It's not going to allow me to do that. 30 seconds on the Michigan brand ham. 30 seconds. I don't know if I'm feeling the buzzer tonight. We'll try. 30 seconds on the Michigan brand ham. Would love to win a ham. If not, he'll have to go to family fare. Very true. Wants to win a ham for Easter dinner. 20 seconds on the buzzer. Brian says, Michigan brand ham, get in my belly. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And little maker's mark would help the buzzer. 2, 1. I couldn't do it. I cracked myself up. Oh. Oh, Gene's going to be building my helm for my angler quest. I talked to Brad today, Gene. I really want. I looked at myself and my varicose vein in my nose, and I started to laugh. Oh, let's see who we got. I figured that was about a 30-second buzzer. Well short of my best. I think I'm still feeling 25 seconds, not even 30 seconds. I'm still feeling the effects of my COVID. Nick Grillo, what did he say? Dan, oh, look at this. Dan Featherstone from Raber Bay. I think you're from Raber Bay, aren't you, Dan? From the Eastern UP. He said he wanted to win a ham. And look at this. Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand Meats says, you are the man, Dan Featherstone. So congrats, Dan Featherstone, for winning this week's Michigan Brand ham. Dan Featherstone. Dan, you've been on here enough. You know the routine. Send me a private message here about he's way over west. Oh, I thought he was east. I'm sorry. Way over to the west. I got my Upers confused here, guys. Where are you in the UP, Dan? I'm thinking of Raber Bay. That's obviously not you. Anyway, Dan, send me a private message on where we should ship that Michigan brand ham. And the Grillo family, the Grillo crew will get that out. And thank you, Nick Grillo. Ishpeming. First time the Central UP. Excellent. You talked to him about my cedar cigar tube. Let's see here. Oh, and by the way, Nick, where did Nick? I want to bring Nick back up here. And I want you to look at his profile picture on his. There we go. You see Nick Grillo's profile picture right there? See those two big walleye he's holding up? I took that picture. We were fishing with Lance Valentine of Teaching Fishing. Me, my son James, and Nick. And I took that picture right there. Oh, excellent. Hey, shall we talk a little bit about Turkey Hunt 234 is on for sale now? Okay, yeah, brings up a good point. I recorded today. Thank you for reminding me. I recorded a Primal podcast today. And on that Primal podcast is a Northern Michigan turkey guide, Charlie Wiltsey. Primal tree stands starting tomorrow at noon. Once we upload the podcast, they're giving away a guided Northern Michigan turkey hunt, a 3-day hunt with Charlie Wilson. All you have to do is go to the website, primaltreestands.com, primaltreestands.com, and on the homepage, there will be a banner or a button. You click on that, and you can enter to win. You can only enter once. It's not one of these multiple entry times. So keep an eye on that. That contest ends Thursday, April 7th at 7 p.m. The winner will be announced Friday the 8th at noon. primaltreestands.com. By the way, if you go to primaltreestands.com, use the promo code Avery, you can save a bunch of money. Thank you, Cliff. You're a step ahead of me. Who's on the radio show this week? The Outdoor Magazine radio show, which is my main gig. You might think I make a living off this stuff, but I don't get anything for this. It's just fun. Coming up on this weekend's Outdoor Magazine radio show, heard on more than 30 stations across the great state of Michigan, the Tick Terminator, Brian Anderson, talking about, late arrival, the buzzer was mediocre. Well, listen, the rest of us were here on time. I've been here for 40 minutes already. You slacker, come in here at the last minute and you call my buzzer mediocre? Listen, buddy, don't throw stones. You know what I mean? The Tick Terminator then, speaking of Primal Tree Stands, Bob Ransom of Primal joins me, plus a new member of the Michigan Wildlife Council. His name is Franklin Hayes. The interesting thing is he's the deputy police chief for the city of Detroit. He's a Detroit guy, and he loves to hunt and fish. I think he has a very interesting perspective. Then we're talking springtime fishing with Dave Rose, plus Nick Green of MUCC with an update out of Lansing, this week's Ask Avery segment. Then Brian Darland of Jay Sporting Goods talks about new fishing gear, new electronics, and availability of new fishing gear with the way things are going. And we wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire, Dave Miner. Yes, and I will be killing a bear with you this fall, Johnny. I will get the third season in Newberry this year, and I will kill a bear with you. It won't be with my recurve this time. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Johnny. Set me up in a stand that is right above the bait. I'm going to jump out of the tree, and in honor of my UP bear hunt, I will use this Rapid River knife. I'll jump on the bear's back, and I'll slit its throat with this knife right here. I don't think so. Good evening, Dave. You're kind of late. How have you been? How you been feeling? Johnny says, be careful. Yeah. Johnny says, I'll do it. And that's true, Johnny. I should be careful because I do know you'll do it. John, where's John? John says he needs to get himself one of these knives. You know what this knife would go very well with, John? A Brenton USA AR-15 hunting rifle. There should be a deal between Michigan-made Rapid River knives and Michigan-made Brenton USA arms, Brenton USA hunting rifles. There's got to be a promo in there somewhere, John. Too late, Stacy. Too late, Stacy. Stu says, been hitting those edibles again? Stu, unfortunately, since I'm a licensed charter captain, I can't do anything like that because we are randomly drug screened. And as it should be. If somebody's paying you to be on the water, to take people on the water, yeah, that's the way it should be. Enjoying our lovely weather, Dave? No, I am not. John says, let's make it happen. I'll tell you what, John, from what I've seen of you guys at Brenton USA, and from what I've seen of Chris Durson at Rapid River, you are two Michigan-based companies who do make things happen. Davina says, where do you charter, Mike? Davina, my home body of water is Saginaw Bay. I'm primarily a Saginaw Bay walleye angler. I am a licensed charter captain, but I do not do, I don't take people out for sale. I don't take paid trips is the best way to say it. And I do that for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't think I'm a good enough fisherman. Secondly, I do not want to go into competition with the folks who do it for a living because they're my friends and they are resources for me. I get fishing reports from them. When I'm having a rough day on the bay, I call those guys up and say, hey, help me find fish. And it wouldn't be the right thing to do because some people would book trips with me just because of the name recognition. And I don't want to take that away from the folks who do it for real. Yeah, not for hire. Not for hire. That's the best way. And Cliff says, and currently, you don't have a boat either. That's a very good point, Cliff. But I did talk to Brad Dupuis. Oh, good. Was that big push because of my talking this morning on Behind the Mic? Nathan says he thought the buzzer was very impressive. Scott Hand. One more push for Walleye for Warriors tonight, too. Walleyesforwarriors.org. Go to walleyesforwarriors.org. They're still looking for boat captains for that event, June 11th and 12th on Saginaw Bay, based out of Linwood Beach Marina. You do not have to be a licensed captain to be a boat captain in Walleye for Warriors. Walleyesforwarriors.org, and you can sign up to be a boat captain. And I will tell you, Tony, no, it ain't, buddy. No, it ain't. Well, it's yours until I get my boat. And then you got to share it. All right. How'd you do in the skinny water last summer? It got off to a slow start, Tony, because the water was so crystal clear. It was hard to fish 10 feet of water when it was like looking through gin. I mean, it got off to a rough start. Going with Captain Mark Pananza. Good for you. You'll enjoy it. All right, my friends, listen, I'm real happy with how this went tonight. I think this concept of opening up Wednesday Night Live to questions with respected experts in the outdoor field is a very good concept. And Amy did a great job, as I knew she would. The website, mucc.org, mucc.org, $35 a year to join. If you're a new member, use the promo code Mike, all caps MIKE, and save 25% off that. Also, Michigan Brand, michiganbrand.net, michiganbrand.net. Congrats on their partnership now with Family Fare. If you want to know where to get Michigan Brand products near you, go to the website, michiganbrand.net, michiganbrand.net, and use the store locator button. All right, my friends, have a good night. Do you know what's going to happen next? Can you think about what's going to happen next? Looking into your crystal ball, what do you see? Same thing I do. Have a good night, my friends. Thanks for joining me on this edition of Wednesday Night Live. My email address is mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com, and the website, mikeaveryoutdoors.com. Thanks again for joining me on this edition of Wednesday Night